The transfer portal's open. Texas A&M's looking for some wide receivers, and hey, I think they might have found some important visitors on campus this week.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a little bit about TJ Shanahan hitting the portal. Why? Bad news. Don't like it. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk about why I'm all in. I think Texas A&M's got to go get a quarterback. I'm going to tell you why. But we're going to start the show talking about the most important position the Aggies have to hammer in the portal, and that's wide receiver. Well, good news. Texas A&M is going to have some really important visitors on campus this week. We're going to talk about those guys. First, I want to, so shows up a little late today. We had the site we use to record our shows, Locked On, the whole shebang here, was having issues today. So was going to do it this morning, was at a hotel, was at a concert with mom last night, and long story short, had some issues. So sorry the show's late today, but be back to normal tomorrow. So Texas A&M is after two talented receivers in the portal. Concepcion from NC State and Micah Hudson from Texas Tech. So we'll start talking a little bit about Concepcion. A wide receiver. He's a sophomore. As a freshman last year, he had 71 receptions, 839 yards, and 10 touchdowns. A lot of excitement, a lot of belief in the future for him. This year, he also had 41 carries for 320 yards as a freshman. This year, we saw the numbers dip down a little bit. He had 53 receptions for 460 yards, 6 touchdowns. He also had 19 carries for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. So 8 total touchdowns this year compared to 10 last year. And, this kid's talented. I watched the film on him today. Just watching Concepcion, also love the name. Reminds me of a player that some might know, Dave Concepcion. I'm a big Reds fan, so like that name. But looking at which he's before my time, so I hope I didn't, right? Whatever. I'm going to trust my gut on that one. If baseball fanatics, if I was wrong about the Concepcion, tell me, but I'm pretty sure that's his name. Hall of Famer. Part of the Big Red Machine? Yes, no? Anyone knows? Let me know in the comments. But looking at the numbers and looking at the film, he's a guy that can come in and fix your problems. The other thing I like about this is, I'm not like Cyrus Allen and Jabri Barber. I thought both, they came to Texas A&M with some solid numbers, this year. But they also came from Troy and Louisiana Tech, respectively. Both solid football teams, solid football programs. But, looking at the numbers for Concepcion, look at the teams he's playing on a week-in, week-out basis. Plays Tennessee, Clemson, ironically, Louisiana Tech. That's funny. Wake Forest, Syracuse, Cal, Stanford, Duke, Georgia Tech, North Carolina. Like, they're playing a lot of legit, solid football teams. That's the ACC. It's not the SEC. It's not the Big Ten. Still, it's big-time football. And he's proven, he had 5 catches for 53 yards against Tennessee in a blowout loss, but still, some solid numbers there. And he's proven that he is a player that is incredibly capable at this level of football. There's no question to me, 5'11", 187 pounds, he's going to be a guy that's going to quickly fit in to the SEC, wherever he ends up. He's on campus this week for a visit. And same with Micah Hudson, and we'll talk about him more as a player here in a second. But, hey, don't let these guys leave. Don't let them leave. You aren't allowed to go anywhere. Stay here. Don't ever leave. Please help us. We need you. Help us. The wide receiver position is one for Texas A&M that is just a flat-out problem. Last year, you feel like you have all the talent in the world. You feel great about Noah Thomas, and you feel great about Ja'Day Walker and Cyrus Allen, Jabri Barber, and all these guys. And then the room just as a whole wasn't great. It was not good. I do believe there's some other factors that played a role in this, But at the end of the day, you need a legit player in the transfer portal at wide receiver. And I think KC Concepcion can be that player. So go get him. Go do whatever it takes to land KC Concepcion. I think he could be a fix to this problem. Now, he's the guy that's played more college football. He'd be coming in as a junior, one more year of college football than Hudson. But you want to talk about the flat-out upside play, it's Micah Hudson. So the last thing I want to say about Concepcion before we move on to KC, or before we move on to Hudson, is Concepcion, I love the route running. He's got a really crisp route runner. That's the film. The film stood out to me there. You watch the film and it's, okay, he's really running these routes. He's selling movements. He's doing things the right way. And route running is key. It's why some of the best receivers in the NFL. I'm a big believer in route running over everything. Okay. So, I mean, I'll give you an example, and some can gripe about it, but I mean, players like, I think a great example is DK Metcalf. He gets open on slants a lot, but I mean, there's a lot of times DK Metcalf is just trying to win the 50-50 ball. And DK Metcalf might be my favorite NFL player. I literally have his jersey. Like, I don't want to say, I'm not crap talking DK Metcalf. What I am saying is I like players like Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, I think is a great example now. So I think some other receivers that just are open based on route running. I think that is the best. Antonio Brown was great at route running. That is the key. And KC Concepcion is a really solid route runner. He's also really shifty, and he's got that make you miss ability once the football is in his hands. So I think the safest play in the portal for receiver right now, and we're early into the portal. There's still some names to hit and a lot of stuff there. But early into this, I think KC Concepcion's name that gets me more fired up when it comes to kind of the safer play, when it comes to the upside, the potential guy that could be maybe even a first-round pick. That is Micah Hudson, without question. Micah Hudson went to Texas Tech, and it's so funny because, Texas A&M was involved in his recruitment out of high school. And it's funny because I remember when he committed to Texas A&M, I was like, okay, this kid is when he committed to Tech. Did I say A&M? When he committed to Texas Tech, I was kind of like, there's no way he's going to stick around there. I didn't buy it. I didn't believe in it. I felt, hey, he might be an Aggie come next year. And I think there's a realistic chance of that happening. As a true freshman, 8 catches, 123 yards, 6 foot, $195. It didn't work out for him at Texas Tech, didn't work out in Lubbock. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the upside of Micah Hudson is there. He's a player that has that. I mean, like, let's see. I forget where he was ranked. I know he was a 5-star, but he's a player that just could be so darn good. Yeah, he was the 25th best player in the class. He was the fifth best wide receiver. He reminds 24/7 Sports when he was coming to high school a lot of Garrett Wilson. The scouting report on him: dynamic, high volume playmaker who can play outside or from the slot. Lean, athletic, build with sneaky strength, highly productive. I mean, just a guy. High school receivers also provide a big play punch at running back and in the return game. Vertical field stretcher with very good initial burst that also aids in run after catch threat. Mid-air acrobat, capable of contorting in traffic to win contested throws. So yes, to me, I think that Hudson, he's got that shiftiness. He's got that downfield threat, but he's your better when it comes to Concepcion or Hudson. I think Hudson's more of the downfield threat, more of the 50-50 ball winner, but he's got that make you miss. But I'm not saying he's a bad route runner, but Concepcion to me is just a magician when it comes to running routes. I think Hudson can be that deep play threat who you really need in this offense. I mean, you did not have a lot of, the big play obviously against you had a big play against Auburn in the passing game. Like, you've had some big plays in the passing game, but you haven't had a ton. And point is, you've got to find a way to dial that in. You got to get better at explosive plays in the passing game, because right now most of the explosive plays are just coming in the rushing game. And you want to be balanced when it comes to having an explosion all over the field. So both of these guys are visiting Texas A&M this week. I mean, and hey, Do you want me to tell you which one I want? Both. I want both of them to play for Texas A&M. These guys have such high upside. They're both talented. They're both NFL-style receivers. Hudson is a guy that seriously, could be an elite player. Concepcion is great. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to the high school recruiting and the upside there, Hudson's got it. But Concepcion looks like a NFL wide receiver to me. These two are talented. Don't let them leave. They'll be on campus. They're on campus now. Don't let them leave. These are guys we need in this offense. We're going to talk a little bit about, I thought about this, and I want to tell you all why I think Texas A&M needs to go get a quarterback. But I'm going to tell you the type of quarterback they need to go get. We'll have that conversation coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. A lot of fun stuff to bet on. Fantasy football, hey, you're either in the playoffs or you're not. We now know. If you're not, FanDuel's the place to go. Ton of fun to bet over there. I do. It's a lot of fun. My buddies and I always make a lot of parlays and different things for games. It's a ton of fun. So check out FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch or make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL and, of course, the Locked On Podcast Network. So I've been thinking long and hard about this, and I think Texas A&M might need to go get a quarterback in the portal. Now, we've talked about this some. We've talked about, hey, is the future of this program Marcel Reed? And I still believe it is. That's not really the conversation today. Which I will tell you this. I think that we're going to find out if the coaching staff believes that Marcel Reed is the future of this program by what they do in the portal at quarterback. If they go get somebody, we talk about the $1 million quarterback. I am not looking for that right now if I'm Texas A&M. But I think if you see Texas A&M's name floating around for some of the kind of $1 million quarterback type of players, that might tell you a little bit what they think about Reed. Now, I believe Reed's the future. I've seen some people voice their concerns with Reed being the future quarterback in the comments. My take on that is very simple. We got to remember that players are capable of improving in the offseason. He's a young guy who kind of got launched into playing time. I think an offseason where you can develop him as a passer and continue to work on those things with the legs, if he can get better throwing the football, the sky's the limit for Marcel Reed. So I think you roll with him and hope that he ends up being what the upside says he can be. But I just you've lost Connor Wigman, you've lost Jalen Henderson. The debate now becomes Miles O'Neal, Hart. Are these guys, Brady Hart coming in, Miles O'Neal on roster? Are these guys? Texas A&M has a painful, long, horrible history of losing quarterbacks, injury, poor play, whatever it is. You've almost got to prepare for it at this point. You really do. Like, you almost have to kind of be ready for poor play from your quarterback, or for injuries from your quarterback. And that means, hey, Marcel Reed, hey, he's a skinny guy. I also would love to see Marcel Reed put on a little bit more muscle this offseason, just to help him, stay healthy and be able to run the ball more. But if he gets banged up, which once again, we have seen time and time again at Texas A&M, you might be in trouble. You really might be in trouble. And so now maybe O'Neal is just a darn good quarterback, and the future is bright there. And, there's going to be a way to go and help and to go and find a way to have him be your legit backup. And maybe that's the case, but at the end of the day, right now, knowing the history of this program and knowing the history of losing quarterbacks and injuries and all of that, I think you kind of got to look at this and say to yourself, okay, we need a legit backup quarterback that if something happens to Marcel Reed injury-wise, if something happens to Marcel Reed, just not being the guy here, you can have a player with a ton of upside. And, I mean, Hart's going to be young. And at the end of the day, I mean, O'Neill's still going to be a young guy. I don't know if I'm buying into that. I don't know if I'm buying into Miles O'Neill right now being your for sure future guy. He's got a cannon for an arm. There's upside there. There's no question there's upside there. We've seen players that aren't the highest ranked guys at the quarterback position pan out. I can think of one that was really good for Texas A&M a little over 10 years ago. Point is, if he's not that guy, and the coaching staff's going to find out if he can be a serious weapon for this team, the coaching staff's going to know that. If he's not, I think you got to go get a quarterback in the portal. So what Texas A&M does in the portal at the quarterback position will be very, very telling. We're going to learn a lot from that. And I think you're going to learn a lot from that early on. And so the type of quarterback I would go get is a guy that was a starter at a smaller school that isn't being targeted as a high-end, portal quarterback at some other places that, some of your schools that really need a quarterback right now. I think you need a quarterback like that is kind of looking for a spot to go make a name for himself, but he started at other places. I think that's the type of guy that could really help you out here, really give you a leg up, and give you a chance to kind of do something. It gives him an opportunity to prove, hey, like, I deserve to be in this spot. So that's kind of what I'm looking at quarterback wise for Texas A&M. I think you got to go get somebody just because once again, and I want to reiterate this, the only way that you don't do that is if you believe Miles O'Neill is your backup quarterback of the future. Hassan Longstreet's gone. You don't got your 5-star anymore. You got a couple guys that I like coming in at the quarterback position, but still the crazy upside behind Marcel Reed is no longer there. So do you need to go add somebody? Maybe another guy that's a great example is a freshman that was at a big time school that didn't work out and the path to playing time isn't quite there for him. That's another type of player I'd be fine to go target. Like I said, a player that came from a small school as a starter, that's someone to target. The other person I would target would once again be a high 4-star guy that didn't pan out. Those are the two type of quarterbacks that I would go after in the portal to kind of come in, and we're going to look at them as Marcel Reed's backup. But at the end of the day, they very well could also be competing for the job. And I mean, you never know. I mean, we talked about this offseason. I never would have thought Marcel Reed would have been the guy in this offense, but that happened. Crazier things have happened. You've got to find a way to go get somebody that can give you that option. So I would not be surprised to see Texas A&M go after a quarterback. Sorry about my dog, by the way. My mom is supposed to be making sure he doesn't bark, and she is failing. Thanks, Mother. Just kidding. Mom took me to a concert for early Christmas gift. It was a lot of fun. We were at the Grand Ole Opry. It was really cool. But that's what I want to see Texas A&M do in the portal. I feel like they need one. I think they need one. I could be wrong. If y'all are higher on Miles O'Neill than me, let me know in the comments. I'm kind of curious. And I'm not saying I'm not high on him, but bring in somebody that won't cost a lot, that can, compete with all these guys and see what happens. It's one of those things. What do you have to lose? If you go get a quarterback like that and Miles O'Neill proves, hey, he's the backup quarterback for this team, he's the guy, great. That's fine. So that's the type of player I would go get. I've fully gone in on that decision. Now, if O'Neill hits the portal or something happens, there's no question you got to go get a quarterback. So that's going to be something that we're going to monitor over the next few weeks here as we are with the rest of this portal stuff. TJ Shanahan hit the portal, and I'll be honest, y'all know I try to shoot y'all straight as much as possible. This is a problem. This is a problem. I'll tell you why coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection every single bite, and right now you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience. And the gifting experts at Omaha Steak have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase may apply. So, TJ Shanahan announced that he is going to be hitting the transfer portal. And I mean, this is one that I just really don't like. And to me, it's because, I mean, he's a guy, you know, he played 9 games this year. 5 of those were starts. Yes, he came in for injuries, and that was part of the reason. But I believe he was a part of the future of this program. And we talk about depth at offensive line is so important. And he's a guy that was going to compete for a starting job this year. TJ Shanahan's a great player with high upside. Whoever's getting him is getting a darn good football player, an NFL upside type of guy. So just losing him, I mean, it really does. We were, you know, in probably a month, we're going to start previewing like the future of position groups and stuff like that. He's a guy that I would have probably projected to maybe be in the starting lineup or at least fighting for a starting job and be for sure in your 2 deep at probably multiple positions across the offensive line. This is a big loss. There's no sugar coating. There's no silver lining. There's no flipping this in a positive way for me, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big time loss for the Aggies. This is really, really problematic. I'm now, you know, concerned. I mean, you got now going to get some offensive linemen becomes an even more significant thing than I think it was before this happened. You got to go stock up on offensive linemen. There's 5 of them out there. There's lots of injuries. You're getting into a car crash on every play. Boom. I mean, it's just every single play. We see concussions, injuries, knee injuries. You see injuries often at the offensive line position. Texas A&M is going to have to go and get players here. You've lost Dewberry. You've lost Shanahan. You've lost legit players in your 2 deep, legit players that are a part of this offensive line and potentially were a part of the future. Now you've got to find a way to fix it. And I think the way you fix it is you just go get some serious, legit dudes in the portal. So I'm concerned about losing Shanahan because I think he's a great player, but I do believe obviously the staff's going to be able to go and get some guys and fill these holes, and it's going to be okay. But this is a big time loss. I would much rather have Shanahan still a part of this football team. I mean, there's no debate there. It's not, I wish he was still here. This is a big time loss. I hate losing him. The coaching staff is going to have to do a lot to go and find fixes at the offensive line in the portal because you need this group to be elite next year instead of just okay. That change has to be made, and it's going to start in the portal now that you've lost some serious pieces to your offensive line. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you all so much for being here every single day. Like I said, I really appreciate y'all just being a part of the community here and being here on a day-to-day basis. Once again, sorry the episode's out a little bit late today. Just some technical difficulties with the where we all here at Locked On record our shows. So apologize for that. But once again, hope everyone has a great rest of their day today. Leave in the YouTube comments, are there any players in the portal that you really, really want? We talked about some receivers today. Any names besides these 2 that are standing out or these 2? Who do you want in the portal? We'll talk about all of these names and everything throughout the week here at Locked On Aggies. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day today, and we will see y'all tomorrow right here on Locked On Aggies.